Okay, so we're back. This time we have here a video from Nerdrotic Daily. James Gunn, WB's confidence in Superman is slipping. So it's about the new Superman movie. And I'm interested in the Superman movie because the first superhero movie that I actually watched in a theater with my father back then was Superman 2. That was, I guess you can say, one of my earlier movie going and watching experiences. Anyway, let's go and check this out.
We're not going to read it because it's long, but I read the entire Rolling Stone article, which a lot of
Okay, so they're going to
pretty well. I mean, Rolling Stone,
react
citadel of journalism, by the
or
way.
comment
They are
on this article.
shit.
Wow, look how cool
Hang
it
on,
looks in that
can
photo.
we go back to that image? Because that's just like James Gunn in a nutshell. That's just like, look at me.
And it looks like this video was
Maybe you can
clipped
back it up to like
from a live stream. Look at all of them.
Yeah,
Look at all of them talking,
that's just
Yeah, so-
cringe.
James,
talking over each other. It's
He's like, you know what? He's
chaos.
like, I did just
got it.
throw.
Although it's chaos,
back out,
it's
but
also
let's make it look
fun.
stylish.
I get it. His last name is Gunn, and he's holding his head like a gun.
That actually makes it worse.
that makes it worse.
Okay, they are, I guess,
In so many ways.
commenting about James Gunn's
No,
picture.
humility.
James Gunn
say
with a gun.
James Gunn during this Superman marketing campaign, which we have been told is going to be like Barbie, which means they're going to put a lot of effing money into it. So we're just getting started. I don't know if we're going to get a
Are they going to
Airbnb. They did
spend $2 billion in marketing?
Fortress of
Are
Salt.
they going to pay? Maybe.
You know, so they-
Maybe they're going to pay a lot of influencers and
That everyone
content
isn't
creators
100% on board with
to
him
hype
doing
up
this as well.
Superman. But then again,
Brought him in. They brought him in to be.
all they had to do is
they wanted
show
to
a good trailer.
And they think that he's
That's all.
him and his personality, his persona.
The first trailer or the trailer that I saw
we see him doing these things, and sometimes we roll our
was
eyes
kind of
the entertainment
meh.
everything,
I guess you can
info
say that.
with them.
I did enjoy seeing
Brothers
crypto.
knew exactly what they were getting into.
That's
Whether it's
new.
Deal or not is
That's new. The other Superman movies
I think he's doing what
didn't-
they wanted him to do.
didn't have crypto.
if they didn't want him to do this, I mean, he is the co-head of DC, and he does not handle like the business aspect. He handles the creative aspect, and he, Peter Safran handles all the dollars and cents. So I think they're completely fine. Warner Brothers is dumb. That's been proven time and time again. You know, Zaslav got his pay cut. I blame Black Snake for that 100%. I know that's not the reason, but that's the reason I'd like it to be. He doesn't deserve any fucking money because he runs that, but he knows he's doing this. This doesn't come off cool though, especially this better be a fucking great movie at this point.
Yeah, it better be. As much as
Because-
you plastered your name and imagery all over every aspect
all
of
over it. Yeah, so
I feel
don't
like I've seen
come.
James Gunn more than Superman.
Well, and they in the interview, he's like, well, they ask him directly, like, the future of Warner Brothers kind of rides on this. He's, I deny that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but we don't need a home run. It's okay to have a double. And I'm like, on your first movie, no. And then he compares it to Iron Man, right? And he's all, Iron Man wasn't the be all end all.
Also, another reason why I'm interested in this Superman movie because
Movie franchise.
I enjoyed James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxies.
And it still is, and it'll never be beat. So yeah, you kind
Those were fun movies. I wouldn't call them.
in front of Superman. You're just not.
I wouldn't call them
How do you face that
great
kind of,
movies,
really, I just
but they were fun
because
movies.
that's not the truth for me. My truth is this is the first movie out of DC. My truth. Other people may say it's got to be a home run or nothing else. I'm like, no, I'd be happy with a double. Fucking Iron Man wasn't the be all end all. It wasn't Avatar. No, Iron Man's better than Avatar. Okay, fuck Avatar.
Yeah,
I know it makes a lot of money, but fuck it.
If Iron Man was a success, we wouldn't have the MCU.
Yeah.
So it was a success. If it was a double or a middling success, we wouldn't have all this other stuff.
Hang on. This is why he fails, because of what he says here. We are not doing something that's a piece of a puzzle. It's not the puzzle itself. There shouldn't be a fucking puzzle at all. There should be Superman.
Sorry. That is the most retarded thing I think I've ever fucking heard. Because if Superman isn't a fucking piece of the puzzle that works, then guess what, Sunshine?
Wizbit
None of
says,
it's gonna fucking
Are
work.
you thinking of
Because
he's already had-
biggest.
Please
So
use
what are you
my
gonna do?
G2A
You're gonna go
affiliate
back
link
to
in the
fucking
description
Batman
below.
again, because
Link,
you can't do that
disclosure,
right now
I
because
will
everything's
get a
fucking up
commission
in the
from
air.
your purchase.
So that's all you've got.
Thank you.
So you're saying, so if Superman doesn't fucking fit, then you're going to say that Supergirl's going to, oh, well, that'll take up all of that. Fuck off, mate. This is stupid. This is the
Lowering
stupidest fucking thing.
expectations.
I guess here's where I see when I'm looking at this. I do think there's ways you can look at it. So if this thing
The thing is, if
1.3 billion,
if this movie, if this Superman movie
that would be our idea of a home run.
Hey.
We just got done talking about Iron Man, and
I don't
the thing
think
about Iron Man was
a
it was good.
Supergirl movie will save
Invested in wanting more of it.
the DC universe.
Dollars that same fucking summer. Okay. Superhero movie. Batman, Iron Man. Difference is there, but still, Iron Man didn't even make 600 million. Dark Knight makes $1 billion. Nevertheless, Iron Man got people very invested in the future. So even though it didn't hit the $1 billion mark, it made the MCU. So I do think there's ways you can
Sophistry
look at it where
says,
if this movie comes
visit
in, say this movie
Kabalyero's
makes
KO5 page
$800 million.
link.
Would that be enough for it to be profitable or not? Not sure about that based on the numbers that we have. But if there was a lot of good word of mouth, if it got people who were maybe doubting before to get back to the theater and watch it, give it a
$800
chance,
and
more people after hearing that would give it a chance again, then you
this movie
or the
won't
base for a
be
potential franchise to build.
won't still be successful.
Now, if it
How
makes
much did they
$600 million,
spend
doesn't even make what Man
on
of
this
Steel
movie?
13 fucking years ago, then you have a huge problem on your
Yeah,
hands.
unless the critical reception is super.
Did they
super
spend
good and
$400 million on this
see
movie?
it,
Critical audience, yeah.
that'll be.
Yeah.
If what Ryan is saying, if what Ryan
That's a
is saying is
foundation
true,
film. I
that
don't think so.
800 million
Look at Deadpool Wolverine.
won't be enough to make this movie successful,
And that's a film that came back, what, 8 years
then
after
how much
Deadpool
does
2?
the movie needs to make
Superman is
to
doing
become
800,
successful?
Which is pretty much the same as
$1 billion?
which was 775. And what's happened with the Batman?
If the movie is good and well received by everyone,
Start with is they were fucking obsessed with
there is a big
time to build.
there is a
And
big
all there should
chance
be
that
Avengers team up movies.
it would make $1 billion,
MCU
but
was built as a whole. One of the
if
things
it's
that started
not,
it, right, and executives immediately wanted to push this and this and this, and we got what we got. Marvel's in really bad shape.
if it's not, then are they going to go back to the drawing board and restart again?
One of them has been profitable, and that is the Batman. That's the biggest one with $750 million, whatever that was. So I do think that if they can put out I don't know if it would make money at 800 million based on the budget. I doubt it would.
I
But
doubt
from a
it.
public perception standpoint and getting fans to maybe think there's something worthwhile again, I think they might view that in.
So they kind of reiterate the $800 million
The follow-up movie
profit.
is Supergirl.
that it, you know,
And that's not going to help.
that's not profit. If the movie makes $800 million,
Good.
Yeah,
they're saying that
Fall movie too is because
the movie will still not make a profit,
Honestly, I think
which means
barrier. I really do think it's the barrier for a lot of
this movie, the Superman, this new Superman movie,
plus. You're going to get
spent
compared to it, and it's not going
maybe
Bros. It's going to
over $400 million in
But also with Man of Steel,
making it.
with that number, you have to remember that ticket prices are very different back then.
Yeah.
So even if you hit that same number, I mean, in today's dollars, Man of Steel is $929 million.
and that's
Right.
part of
But,
the problem.
Yes.
but we're talking from the normie general people, the idea that because we know inflation absolutely matters. It matters what your budget is on these movies. It matters how many tickets you're selling. All that stuff matters. However, grand scheme of things, for the headlines that are coming out, if you don't beat Man of Steel, right? Man of Steel opening weekend was 116 million. In today's dollars, it would be like 158 million. Okay. If they don't beat that opening weekend, after everything they did to Henry Cavill, after the new James Gunn, this is what we're doing, and you can't beat it, they are going to get fucking dragged.
They're gonna get made fun of a lot. Yeah.
Remember, James Gunn was announced as the head of the DC, 2.5 years ago, and we got 2 fucking scripts.
That's it?
And it's
That's
a
it.
TV show.
A lot of talk. We got things that they're planning things. My favorite thing hasn't been announced
But look
yet.
how great his hair
He's
looks.
writing a script.
Well,
He's going to turn it in next month.
I think they should be fucking cautious.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of things are hinging on the success of this movie. I think if this movie fucking flops, a week later we're going to hear that the Batman 2 is full on in production.
Yes,
right?
I think that might be right.
For success,
I think we're going to hear
Maybe
that
I'd actually be interested
in production, right?
Actually, we're fast tracking it now.
That's what this James Gunn interview was about. It was him backtracking a little bit. I would be okay with a double. And then we have the projections going lower and lower. And then,
And
then now there's Batman. Now there's Batman news. He's getting the script ready. It's going to be next month.
No, the Batman news is all like it came out a few hours ago. James Gunn says, I am irritated by people who keep asking me about the script. That's just the way it is. He doesn't owe you something just because you like his movie.
He said Matt Reeves is slow. He straight up said
Get off his nuts.
To Ryan's point, I was saying that the Batman is a fallback. I feel, a very interesting point, because one of the things that
I haven't seen the Batman. Maybe I should watch the Batman.
What Iron Man achieved.
They say
You don't just
they
like
say
character,
it was
you're
good.
engrossed in the universe, the world. You want to see other characters in that world. The Batman, especially with the Penguin, that has done that for me. I want to see more characters in that world.
Absolutely.
And I'm interested to see that fleshed out and more characters brought in. And so they do have an interesting contingency there. That's kind of primed, ready to.
Yeah, that's why they don't dump it. I mean, that's why they haven't dumped it yet, because it is a plan B, like 100%.
I
But
still think they.
So the plan is if this
But in that vein, where
Superman movie
they're going to flops,
flops,
separate properties, and then occasionally they come together to do it.
then they'll
And
make
they separate off. That way,
the sequel to the Batman.
to do the other thing.
My question is,
original.
will that be the launching
What made
point?
Iron Man work?
Again, if this movie flops and they make the Batman,
Man,
the sequel to the Batman,
smaller movie. They used Iron Man.
will that be the launching point of the new DC universe, or will it be a a standalone,
Nobody.
a movie in its own universe kind of thing?
That's what led to Marvel having, like, there's the Marvel there's the Marvel method in comics, and they had a Marvel method in MCU, which was we'll just make up the script as it goes. And if you read that book that mentioned the MCU from a couple of years ago, they said that's kind of how we did things, because it worked that for so long. But they weren't planning a universe. They threw in Nick Fury and let's see if it works. That's pretty much what they did. And they pulled for Hulk, they pulled the Tony Stark footage in later, right? And Hulk wasn't a big success.
Nope.
It wasn't it didn't make a ton of money, and the CGI looked a little shocky, although now that we look back on it, they had better Bruce Banner by 1,000%, by 1,000 times. And I don't hate the movie, but it wasn't a success like Iron Man. They just kept it simple. They kept it, and that's what Superman should have been. And if we really want to get away from this multiverse shit and crossing over and everything, you start with a simple. Superman doesn't need other superheroes. He just doesn't. I don't mind seeing Guy Gardner. I'm fine with that, but like it doesn't need it. He shouldn't be in there like at all. Like none of Mr. Terrific. I'm fine with seeing Mr. Terrific someday or a JSA someday, but not like that's not how you. How many planned cinematic universes have worked since Marvel? There's been a ton of them.
Yeah, the dark cinematic universe that they tried, the Mummy and the Dracula and
Spider-Man, Sinister Six failed.
The DCU.
I do think. Look, I think that if in this world where Superman is a crazy good movie and it does super well at the box office, a lot of people are excited. We already had a couple of things that we're told were going in production in some of these James Gunn interviews. I think we get a wave of true green lights for this stuff and hiring directors and all of these things. Let's face it, Warner Brothers is in a bad place as a fucking company. They just split their company into 2 separate companies so they could put a lot of their debt into one part of the company and try to salvage the other part. There might be bought out, maybe another merger in the works. Who knows? I think that they are waiting to see.
It would be bad
they
if
make really any
Warner Brothers
investments in this future.
is bought or merged
I think
or
we're
bought
gonna
by
get the
Disney.
Batman 2, and we're not gonna
Because
hear anything about
then
James Gunn's Batman Brave and
it'll be like a monopoly, even though they're still universal.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.
Okay, so that was I guess the entire Nerdrotic panel. Again, guys, if you want to watch the video without me talking over it, there is an easy solution, and that is just go to Nerdrotic Daily's website or channel and watch it there. Be right back.